If you're not watching the video right now, Carley got massive lip injections.
Picture Jigsaw
Yeah.
from the movie Saw.
But like hot.
I
I
know what
hate
you mean.
France.
Yeah, we got it. We got it.
We hate France. Is
We need
the
to be-
vibe. Ahoy! Welcome back to Girl Historians.
I'm Carley.
And I'm Blair.
And this is the comedy podcast where we talk about history and our girls.
And we're doing episode 1 of season 4, 6 Wives of Henry VIII.
It actually doesn't feel real.
No, it doesn't
This
feel
feels
real.
like we're shooting a proof of fucking concept.
I know it does. It feels crazy. Also, like to be on season 4 feels bizarre.
Yeah. I think our outfit for this season, I'm going to look into. We should get those fucking Tudor collars.
Yes, a Tudor collar.
Yeah.
I was looking for crowns like kind of lightly today, but
A
I was
light
looking
look.
in like the drugstore thinking I would find a crown. Like
Yeah.
I was misguided, but
Yeah.
like I had the spirit.
Your heart was in the right
My
place.
heart was in the right place.
Yeah.
I think we should wear, I honestly, like if we could wear corsets without it being like brutally uncomfortable,
Yeah.
maybe for one episode we'll do corsets.
Yeah, we're doing a big fucking outfit.
Yeah, we'll
for
do
one.
a big fucking outfit.
I
for
like
just
that.
one episode.
I like that.
Yeah, but it feels like we got the season requested since we started the podcast. I feel like it's
a classic area of girl history.
it is.
And it's very much in the zeitgeist now because of 6.
Oh, absolutely.
Which we saw together.
And we did see 6 together. And
we
I
had
feel
the
like
time
that
of our
was,
fucking lives.
it was really fun. I wasn't really expecting to like it. I think I
No.
did talk about this on the pod way
We
back in the
did.
day. But truly so fun.
Yeah, I think it's
Hard not to enjoy.
Yeah, it's like a kind of state that I'm very rarely in of like going into something with low expectations and then really just enjoying myself. Like I
Yes.
feel like usually I really know what I'm going into.
Yeah.
And we were invited by someone who was playing Anne Boleyn. She
Well,
was
you were
fucking
invited.
great. Yeah, and
Then
you're
you
my
took
plus
me.
one, obviously.
Yay.
For Galentine's.
Yes.
Woo! Yay! But yeah, I was like, oh, it'll probably be like fine. Like I love a musical.
Yeah.
But
Hard
then
not to love.
had a fucking time of just had the time of my fucking life.
It was a blast. Like it's really like I wasn't particularly like interested in this section of history. I find like monarchy history quite honestly confusing.
I feel the same.
Because like all the family lines just overlap.
And it's we're reusing names.
Yeah, like everyone's like a
Henry, Edward, George.
So I will say, like, as a preface, I feel like, at least in my research, you can pick what you're gonna do. But I'm trying to keep the like familial lines out of it a little
Who cares?
Because I feel like there are people that do a really, really good job
Yeah.
at centering that stuff, and couldn't be me.
No, we really like to kind of connect with the humanity of the
Yeah,
subject.
we take a human side to the stories.
Yeah, we're here for the drama.
Yeah, where it's like there's one woman on TikTok, and I'll get her name because I'm actually obsessed with her now. I want her on the podcast, even though I forget her name. But she can write out like from the first king of England all the way down to like Princess Kate. Like it's nuts.
That's really crazy.
No, she's cool. And she also has like a degree in like biology or something.
Oh.
And she was just like interested.
The TikTok woman I've been obsessed with lately is the one that has a pet pigeon that she keeps in
beautiful.
her purse.
That's gorgeous.
And it's just legal. It's legal because pigeons are invasive species. I feel like I shouldn't say that in case it like really, really isn't. But to just pick a pigeon up from the ground and just bring it inside.
No, I've heard this.
Like you can just bring one inside. And
I want to pick up
I'm
a
kind
pigeon
of like,
so bad.
I feel like I could just I feel like you can potty train it.
No, 100%.
And imagine if I just like had a little pigeon.
That would be amazing.
Because I feed them all the time. Reese gets upset. He's like, you can't feed them. And I
No,
was like,
you
but we
have to.
abandoned them. But we
No, we
abandoned them.
abandoned them.
But we
No.
abandoned them. We domesticated them. Then we abandoned them.
No, this one, I remember telling you this.
It ruined my life.
No, I was like, I told you this. I was like, just so you know, look up pigeons. It's going to ruin your day. And there's this fucking comic. The comic is the saddest thing. It's this comic about how we abandon pigeons. And like at the end, it's like the pigeons just want to feel love. And it will ruin your month. If you want to ruin your entire month, look at this pigeon
It's
comic.
being like, it feels like In the Arms of the Angels is playing
No, it is.
in the comic.
It's like when Sarah McLachlan's telling you a bunch of dogs are about to die and there's
Exactly.
just
No,
nothing you can do about
That's
it.
the vibe where it's being like, it was nice to be loved once.
Yeah.
It's like from the pigeon's perspective, which is also fucked up.
No, it's crazy. Anything that's from the perspective of an animal. I've already talked about the Weaker Than songs that are from the perspective of a cat that I can't get into it because I just can't cry today. I've cried too much this week.
I know.
No, but it's crazy. It's so freaking sad.
Yeah.
But I will say, now that we're on the topic of Sarah McLachlan, what was up with her like music just emotionally terrorizing children?
Yeah.
Because she had those sad like the arms of an angel talking about the dogs that are dying. It's like there's a dog that's gonna die.
He has pink eye.
And he has pink eye and he's gonna die. And then that other one, the I will remember.
Yeah, she's not well.
But they play that at Remembrance Day ceremonies at my school. And did you ever do Remembrance Day ceremonies?
Yeah, I had 2. When I moved to Canada, we had 2.
Oh my God.
We had different ones. We have Veterans Day in the States, and that shit goes fucking off.
Do they like party or do they like, is it
no,
like
it's sad. It's remembering the veterans. But there's, there are very few benefits to having a militaristic state. Mm-hmm. But Remembrance Day goes off.
No, Remembrance Day was terrifying because as a kid,
Veterans Day, but Veterans Day, but also it's the same shit, different font.
Yeah, you go into the gymnasium, and like there'd just be like the 5th graders would be in there with like flashlights, and like some of them like they'd be like screaming like blah 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 blah, get down, there's a bomb, like blah, blah,
yes,
blah,
yes,
like, with the flashlights and stuff. And then like at one year they put up like these like tunnels that you had to like army crawl through and be like,
this actually sounds fucking fun.
Get away! It was fine, but it was horrifying.
Yeah,
and then
horrifying.
At the end, you'd watch a slideshow with that Sarah McLachlan song played and just cry with a bunch of other 8-year-olds. And then they just like, okay, time for math. Like it's, what was up with that?
That's kind of crazy. We did it in America. We didn't do, I've heard lots of stories of like the kind of like in Canada for Remembrance Day, like you guys involve like the arts in a way that is very strange. Because what I remember from Veterans Day in the States is like, there'd be like a speech competition, and then like the people who wrote the 5 best speeches about what it means to be American or whatever got to give the speech. I gave one once, and I couldn't tell you. First of all, not American. Couldn't tell you.
You're
what
a
it's
great
about.
public speaker.
Honestly, I was an orator.
That?
Yes, couldn't tell you what it's about. I have no clue, but it would be that. And then the school that I went to was like a feeder school into the military, so then they would have a student leave to represent every single former student that died in a war, and it extended this assembly, which was maybe 45 minutes of active entertainment, to just then an hour of people walking slowly out of the gymnasium, because it started in 1912. That's when the school was open. So we're fucking
bad year.
Yes.
That's
and it's
rough.
like so World War I and World War II heavy. You know what I mean? And then like later it doesn't really.
They're just sort of like, and we went to Korea at some point.
2 guys died then as opposed to the 500.
And Vietnam was right. Vietnam was right.
We won it.
We won in
Don't
Vietnam.
look into it.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I feel like Remembrance Day in Canada is crazy because like truly World War I. Well, first of all, it's a theater kids holiday here in Canada.
No,
it's
you
like,
guys do like plays.
Yeah.
I remember doing like when I moved to Canada, we did like a weird kind of interpretive theater piece. Reese has stories of doing improv at the Remembrance Day assembly. Like why is it a theater kid fucking holiday?
It was
here?
my first experience with immersive theater.
Yeah.
Was pretending I was in a trench.
Yeah.
Getting shot at by the Germans. Like it was crazy. Like what's up with that? Also, like in Canada, there's a huge emphasis on World War I that I feel like other countries don't have.
Yes.
Because Canada
popped off.
They popped off, and it's like,
well, I mean, it popped off in the sense that we did war crimes.
No, like Canada, this is one of my, like, truly one of my Roman empires, which is that, like, Canada's first kind of act as a country was fighting in World War I. It was, like, one of their first, like, big things they did, because when we fought in the world, this might me being a boring history dude right now, but, like, when we fought in the War of 1812, we were still under the British Empire.
Yeah.
So the first thing we really did as Canadians was World War I, and we were nuts, like, absolutely bonkers, just, like, going out in the night,
inventing war
people,
crimes.
Inventing war crimes.
Yeah. No, it's kind of crazy. And it makes sense. Like when you know Canadians, there's a real like Americans, and not to diminish the war crimes that America has committed over the course of their tenure as a country, they've really popped. But there is like a hardiness that Canadians just intrinsically have, and a real like patriotism that's not even steeped in like our country is the best, but just in being like, I love my country.
Yeah.
Which feels actually like an energy that would have more war crimes.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah, we really do randomly, for like not really a militaristic country, really fuck.
Yeah. We really
with Veterans Day. With veterans.
Remembrance Day.
Well, it's all the same shit.
No, it's not. It's different. In Canada, we remember. In America, you're like, the veterans. Yeah. If you been in World War II, would you have been a nurse, like a field nurse?
I don't really feel like I would.
I would have.
Well, yeah. I know. You answered pretty fucking quick.
Yeah.
You don't ask that question if you're
Sorry, I just kind of want to talk about myself.
I feel like in World War II, I'm kind of giving like I'm working in the factory.
Okay. I think I would have been sawing off limbs on the battlefield.
I have no interest in medicine.
No, me neither. I'm really bad at it and I hate it, but I think I would do it.
I'm sorry if I'm bringing a vibe to the podcast today, guys. I'm just really tired.
Carley got Botox today.
Yes. I got masseter Botox. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Her face is ballooned like Kylie Jenner.
I am in my pillow face era.
She got
I'm
lip
giving
injections.
Yeah, I got massive lip injections.
If you're not watching the video right now, Carley got massive lip injections.
Picture Jigsaw from the movie Saw.
But like hot.
But sexy. I've been grinding my teeth for months on end. And
ASMR.
Yeah, just kind of like, and then I have a mouth guard, and then just kind of grinding on the mouth guard. And I wake up like 5 times in the middle of the night now, just being like,
nightmare.
So my dentist was like, go get jaw Botox. So it's not like cosmetic, but it is in the sense that like it's just Botox. Like it's not like, you know what I mean? Like it's not like
a different type of Botox.
It's not a different compound. It's the same thing. But I went in and they like put 3 different little fucking shots in each side of my jaw.
That's awesome.
And it should like, it's technically supposed to like kind of atrophy my jaw. So it's like I can still chew and stuff, but I just don't have the power to just like whatever, you know, really.
Oh, is that how it helps?
I think so.
Wow. I'm excited. Take away power from your jaw.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's what people say. It's like my jaw just feels like too weak to just grind all night.
Whoa.
Because she was like, your jaw's very muscly.
Whoa.
Because I just kind of grind all night. Wait,
I want masseter Botox.
You should do it.
That rocks. My jaw's too powerful. I bite too hard.
Well, that's the reason you get it.
Yeah.
Not because you're too powerful.
Sorry. Whatever.
My jaw's actually also really strong too.
Yeah, sorry. No, I know you have a strong jaw. I never should have said anything about you.
But
really sorry.
I'm tired because of that. Also, I'm just fucking tired.
Yeah,
We've had a crazy week, both of us.
I know. I look back. I feel like I'm gonna look back at this time on the podcast where every podcast I open up is saying like I'm delirious with no sleep. What happened this week? What did you do this week? You did a bunch of stuff.
Well, we also did stuff too.
Oh yeah, we had a show last night.
Yeah, we did a show last night. We did Friendsgiving on Wednesday.
Oh my god, Friendsgiving was we made a bunch of food and had
that was a good time.
Improv team over and ate the food. It was awesome.
It was honestly just really lovely. It
was fun.
I don't remember what I did on Tuesday, but I did something. I've done something every night this week, which I don't.
That's bananas.
I saw Matt and Mara.
How was
the
that?
TIFF Lightbox. It was good. It's very like mumblecore, kind of like pretentious, but in like a good way. Love a Canadian film. Yeah,
it was a Canadian like TIFF movie darling.
Exactly.
Thing.
And I love like it was set in Toronto. Somebody really pissed me off on Letterboxd because like my Letterboxd review is just basically being like, I really like this movie, but there's a part where they get on at Bay Station and then the intercom goes, next stop, Christie Station,
which is wrong.
Which is just not true. It's like Bay, St. George, Spadina, Bathurst, then Christie.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, they actually got on at Bathurst. And I want to be like, well, Bathurst's tiles are blue.
Yeah, so
and Bay's tiles are green. So write that down. It's green and dark green. Yeah. And then St. George is kind of a cream and dark green. And then Spadina is kind of a yellow. And then Bathurst is kind of a blue. And then Christie's back to yellow. So like I fucking know. But it's just I'm like not gonna argue. There's something so annoying to me about like trolls in the sense that I know I can't argue because you just can't give them airtime.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I'm right.
I accidentally started beefing with teenagers on Twitter and then deleted my comments because I realized they were teenagers.
And you're a public figure?
Okay, my Twitter is slept on. If you want to follow my Twitter, nothing's going on there. But like,
except you're beefing with teenagers.
I've never had a hit tweet in my life. Like, I delete everything I post. Like, it's just off. Like, my Twitter's not happening. But I posted this thing because people were talking about whether or not Rocky Horror was problematic.
Oh God, I hate this conversation.
It's just sort of like, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, you're just going to end up, in my opinion, you're going to end up going in circles. Are there things you can criticize about it? Sure.
Absolutely.
Is it worth it? No.
If somebody wrote it now, you'd be like,
weird.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
But it was very, transgressive for the time it was written in. It's kind of been repurposed as this kind of like queer, iconic camp cult movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not standing up with the politics of it.
There are no politics of it. It's a fake scientist doing sex in a castle.
I know.
Like, what's the politics there? And like, I understand that people are coming from a good place when they say it's like problematic, and like you can acknowledge it's problematic and still engage with the media. But it's like, at what point, like, is it worth even acknowledging that it's problematic? You know what I mean? It's like, you're just going to run yourself into circles.
It's because media literacy is down, where it's like we can be just in a perfect world. We're just like, we can all address that this is obviously not perfect. I mean, I'm looking right there. I have my Rocky Horror poster like above my desk.
It's iconic.
I love Rocky Horror.
No, it's fantastic. And it's like, again, like someone pointed it out, but it's like the year Rocky Horror was made, being gay was illegal like 6 years beforehand. Like, let's be so fucking
and like if to even have kind of a gender non-conforming character is crazy.
Yeah, and people are like, oh well, of course it's the villain. It's like, it's a spooky movie.
Yeah, and also it's the best character. Like, let's be so iconic. Fucking real. Nobody gives a fuck about Brad.
Yeah, like
who cares about Brad and Janet? Like, no one gives a fuck about.
Which is why I'm just like, I just feel like we're too trigger happy of being like. It reminds me of like being on Tumblr and your fave is problematic, where it'd be like, like Nicki Minaj wearing like a headdress was like on the same list of someone like doing a violent crime, and it's like, I just don't like. Obviously it's still bad, but like, oh my God, like we're just equating one thing with another a little bit too much. But I quote tweeted something about Rocky Horror being problematic and wrote like, hot take, is not problematic at all. You freaks just like, you fucks just hate seeing freaks have fun.
Yeah. And you said what you said.
And it got like maybe 15 likes. Again, I do not thrive on Twitter, but these two comments like appeared underneath. One person being like, maybe people don't like being seen as freaks, and like maybe I don't want to be seen as a freak. And then another quote being like heart, we can acknowledge that things are problematic, but like still enjoy them. Like, and I was like, oh girl, like it's like. I was like, I just think we need to all relax, was my quote to the other one. The other one, I was like, I don't think like anyone's thinking that. And then I looked at their profiles; they were both teenagers. I know.
You're like, what am I doing? I can't argue with a teenager online. I can't do this. I know, but that is hard. Like, it is good for teenagers to be politically active.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just hard when you have to engage with them while they're doing it.
I had my most annoying opinions as a teenager, but now they made me who I am. Yeah, and I think I have good politics because of it.
Yeah, because I was like the feminist bitch that nobody wanted to talk to at school because I was a nightmare to talk to.
Yeah.
I was like, that's actually really sexist of you to say.
Yeah. That's actually sexist, and like, you know.
And I was fucking right.
No, I was
fucking right.
I was 100% right. And I was, you know, it was like, yeah, no, shit was
like,
shit
actually,
was
you can't say gay. Gay is derogatory.
Yeah, gay is derogatory, and you saying that is horrible.
Like, just a killjoy. And you have to be, I honestly think being a killjoy is a badge of honor.
Yeah, I think it is. And it helps you grow.
Yeah.
It makes you stand up tall and be strong. Okay, and we're back.
Hi.
Carley, are you ready to get into Henry VIII?
I'm ready to learn.
And his 6 wives.
I want to learn.
Okay, what do you know about Henry VIII? Like, what's your perception of it?
Well, I know what I know from 6, and I also just know from the Church of England.
From the Church of England.
That he created, like, Protestantism, basically, so he could get divorced, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Or Anglican.
Yeah.
Anglicanism?
You know what I mean. I know that he basically was a kind of crazy king.
Yeah.
I know we don't say that word anymore. But it feels appropriate here because he's killing women. I feel like we can kind of repurpose it.
No,
it's like, I mean it derogatory.
Yeah, no, derogatory and meaning and with intent to insult.
With intent to insult.
This guy sucks.
Yeah, of just like he had 6 wives.
Yeah.
I know that Catherine of Aragon became like a nun. Right?
Yes.
Nunnery?
Basically, yeah.
Anne Boleyn.
Yeah.
Beheaded. Jane Seymour died.
Yes.
Anne of Cleves beheaded.
No. Divorced.
Oh.
So it's divorced.
You're right. The other Catherine
Howard.
Catherine Howard beheaded.
Which
one? Anne of Cleves is the one that he saw her portrait.
So yes. So divorced.
Beheaded. Died.
Divorced. Beheaded. Survived.
And just for you tonight, we're divorced, beheaded, live. Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Here's my one, and I feel like we do want the creators of 6 on the podcast.
Yes, please.
So, and again, I haven't written a hit musical. I haven't won a Grammy.
Yeah.
Let's say that ahead of time.
Almost there.
But I do have one beef with I have one beef with the writing of the musical.
Yeah.
I don't like at the end they're like so it starts off and they're like, we should all compete to figure out who's the best.
Yeah.
And at the end they go, you guys shouldn't be pitting us against each other.
It's
and I was like, bitch,
so
you told
guys
me.
set it up.
Bitch, you fucking told me.
You set it up.
I'm the criminal. Now I'm the asshole for buying in.
No, I hate that. That's
it's
one
not
of my
just this. So much musical theater and so much like everything does that. But I'm like, I'm just accepting the terms that you've presented to me.
No, this
and then
is
you're
like
it's
this
actually
is the biggest
really
trope.
fucked
Like
up.
whenever someone writes a play, it's like this play at the end they're gonna turn on the audience and be like, "Why are you watching this?" It's like, bitch, you invited me
to a play.
You invited me to a play.
You're my roommate's best friend. You invited me. I haven't gone to any of your goddamn plays, so I was like, I gotta show up to this one.
There's a play I want to talk about so badly right now, and I can't talk about it. I don't even know if it's the one you think it is.
I think I'm thinking of a different one, but it's the same vibe of that. Of just being like, wow,
what
are you doing
one
here?
Play that did that was like, it was so pretentious, and I don't like some of the people who made it at all. I think they're bad people. And it like honestly got a fair amount of traction. And I was like so mad the whole time. I had to explain to my friends why I was mad. And they were like, it was subversive. I'm like, no, subversive is when you throw goo on the audience. Like, give me a break.
There's
like,
a splash zone.
Nothing. There's a splash zone.
There's a goo zone. That's subversive.
Give me a break.
No,
give me a break.
I feel the same. My sister is very, very like a theater gal.
She is.
So I will go and see a lot of Canadian theater with her. Some of it is genuinely fantastic.
Yeah.
And some of it generally you can tell if it's good or bad based on if it has an intermission or not, because then you know whether or not they feel the need to trap the audience in the theater.
Yeah.
Because there's been times I've been like, why? This is 2 hours, there's no intermission, and I'm praying Oprah put a pistol under my seat so I can end my life. Like,
yeah.
There's one that I can't say too, because again, it's like with Canadian theater, it's like 2 degrees of separation.
Oh, there's like 7 people making Canadian theater.
They won't like somebody will send this to them. They will know I will never work again. But there's one that I'm thinking of specifically that's like, it's really crazy to think that this is what Canadian theater is. And I'm like, bitch, I'm an audience member.
Like, shut up. Like
I'm
so
not
annoying.
at the end of every stand-up set I do, I'm not like, why are you guys laughing?
Why are you guys laughing?
They're like, I don't know.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy that you're laughing at me.
Crazy you're laughing at me.
It's kind of Bo Burnham core.
Yeah.
It's a little bit being like, crazy that as my mental health deteriorates and I need you to laugh to survive, you continue to enable me.
It's like, what are you talking about?
Guys, thank you so much. I've been Carley Thorne.
Though I do your
goddamn job.
I do love the put your fucking hands up.
I love that.
That song bangs.
I feel like we can't get into the Bo Burnham lore of it all. We don't have time. But my unpopular opinion is that Make Happy is his magnum opus. I think Make Happy is better than Inside. It's the one before. I love that one. And
Make Happy's great.
The Kanye
rant
is so good. It's like, I think it's him at his best, and that it's genuinely very funny. It's very like innovative. It's like a new take on musical comedy.
Yeah,
that hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just like 5 different fucking piano songs back to back, which is fine, but you know what I mean. It's like an actual new take, really funny and interesting.
Yeah. No, because it's like I hate when someone just shows up with a guitar and it's like, I'm doing musical comedy. I'm like,
I'm gonna start carrying around
a gun.
I was gonna say a hammer in my bagoo, and the second I see somebody pops out a little keyboard, bah, bah, bah.
Have I ever shown you my mini hammer? It'd be perfect for you.
Okay, can I have it?
I have a mini hammer that also has a knife in it.
That's what I need, so I can stab the comedian who's. I just don't think. I'm so sorry, guys. I just don't think we need to do keyboard comedy anymore.
No.
Like, I think actually moratorium on it. Like, yeah. I just think people use it to bolster a idea that's not funny enough to just do a stand-up bit on.
Well, the amount of times I'll see like a keyboard bit that's like, I got up and I thought I was gonna poop, but then I just farted. Ooh, just a little fart. I thought that's literally what it is. Like, that's what it is. I just had a little tiny fart. But dude, don't you ever think about how you're pooping and you're farting? They all come from the same place. That's
literally what it is, though. Like, no, I'm like, this just wasn't funny enough to be a bit.
Second, I just gotta write this down.
That's like, I just have so much beef with musical comedy, and it's not like, obviously not with good musical comedy.
Yeah.
I like good musical comedy. It's just that so much of it, I'm like, you haven't done a second pass at the lyrics. No. Like, you just wrote the first one. There's not enough jokes in it. It's just not funny enough, and the song isn't that good. Also, you're not a good enough singer.
Oh, I know. Don't get me started.
No, we can't talk about
As a vocalist.
As the vocalist of the pod, I'm sure that hits home for you.
It really hits home for me because as a vocalist of the podcast.
Yes. But we don't have time to talk about this. Actually, we can't because it's like so messy and just truly about like, obviously you can enjoy this as a listener of the podcast, but I'm just like talking about specific people. Like I have a couple in my brain. And it's not nice of me to do this in my public platform. Like, remember we started this podcast and I was like, I'm not going to get personal.
Yeah.
And now I'm just shit talking but omitting names. Like, what's wrong with me?
We left in a name at one point accidentally to one of the videos, and someone, which we'll say to you guys, we love you guys. This is a symbol of trust. Sometimes we're girls, we make mistakes. Sometimes we leave a full first and last name. So we're shit talking in the podcast. And don't go looking for it.
It's out, right?
It's down now.
Yeah, it's taken out.
It's somewhere. Someone was like, where'd that video go? We were like, oh,
don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It'll come back. Don't worry about it. We had to adjust the lighting.
Yeah, the lighting was fucked up.
The lighting.
It's not that I said someomes first name and last name and then said that I think that they're a bad person. And you said everyone thinks that.
It also was funnier too because it wasn't even like an insult of like, oh, they're bad at singing. It's like, no, they're a bad person.
I know. I said they were a bad person. You're like, yeah, everyone thinks that. And first and a last, which is actually kind of insane.
No, it's insane to say just in general. But I do this all the time. I go to like a coffee shop and just scream someone's first and last name. And then it's followed by a secret.
Because I told you that one time I went to like this like little diner and it was after like a audition or something and I had like time to kill, so I was just there and I was like reading my book, but the people sat down next to me and just fully started talking about someone we know first and last name, being like, I could do what he does. He's not that good at what he does.
It's like, girl.
And then being like, one of our other friends in our improv troupe being like, I should talk to this person about writing a pilot or whatever. And I was like, they don't recognize me. Like, they don't know that I know these people, but they're just saying first and last. And it was
or they were trying to neg you. They knew who you were, and they were just sort of like, maybe if we talk to this person, like, you know.
Yeah, they wanted a business card.
They wanted you to jump in and be like, hey, here's speaking about friends of mine. And yes, they are looking for collaborators.
Yes.
So that's amazing.
But I was like, I really throw out a first and a last with reckless abandon.
I know. That's why you got to go to places that no one will expect you to be.
Like what? Porcelain doll exhibition.
Porcelain doll exhibition.
If you ran into me at a porcelain doll exhibition, you'd be surprised.
Yeah. I'd be a little bit like, oh,
okay, work.
Sure. Here's some fears I have about myself. First of all, is I'm going to move to a farm, start taking care of animals.
That's a fear?
Yeah. Because I think secretly I really want it.
Yeah,
and I'm not ready to admit that to myself. My other fear is I'm going to get into like collecting. I was saying to Brendan the other day that like I think I've already started collecting Playboy stuff.
That's a lot, yeah.
Like vintage Playboy.
I know what you mean.
Not like Playboy cushion, like, you know, like Playboy bed, Playboy thong, like vintage Playboy.
Yeah.
I think it's already happening.
I could see you, and I hope you don't think this is an insult. You might, but I could see like
dolls.
No, well, yes,
yeah,
but also just like being like at Blair's apartment. There's just a stack of yellow pages.
Oh yes,
that are waterlogged.
Yes,
and you're just like, that's where. Yep, that's.
That's already kind of my apartment though.
You know what I mean? Like you're like, that's all I collect Rolling Stone. And I'm like, well, yeah, but it's just a 5 foot tall tower with black mold spores in it.
Yeah. No, this is already happening to me.
Yeah.
The one thing is I hate mold. I hate mold more than anything else in the world.
I'm fearful of mold. I have to clean. Speaking of, I have to clean my bathroom this weekend.
I know.
I'm really putting it out. My shower curtain needs to be burned, I actually think it's disgusting.
When my beautiful roommate Sarah Bennett moved in, she brought with her a shower curtain that has a large image of the Beatles. The Beatles are cartoon.
Yeah.
Yellow submarine Beatles.
Crazy era.
It was, and you know what? I've grown to love it.
I do like it a lot.
It was hard for me to accept, but now it's got mold on it. And it actually is quite sad because I had such a journey with this.
Yeah, and you came to accept it.
Curtain. I came to accept it. I came to love it. And now it's got mold on it and I don't really know what to do.
I know.
I think burn it probably.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be burned.
Just to be safe.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
Anyway, let's talk about Henry VIII.
What is your relationship with Henry VIII?
Here was my perception, because I think a lot of it was right and a lot of it was really wrong. I always thought that he was like a tyrannical mad king with like syphilis that went to his brain kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like just was crazy
King
from the
George.
get-go. Yeah, like very King George kind of shit. Like I thought he was nuts, and I thought he killed all his wives.
I thought that as well.
I thought he killed every one of his wives.
That was in the culture before he knew about it. Actually, I thought he killed every single one of his wives.
Yes, I thought so too, and also because my mother's Anglican, and so we would always talk about the Church of England kind of jokingly being like, oh, it's the church that was made so that Henry VIII could divorce his wife.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was a bit facetious, but like it truly is kind of just
No,
what
that's
happened.
just literally what he fucking did. He just found a priest or whatever. He's like, he asked the priest to allow him to get divorced, and that priest was like, no. And he was like, well, I'll just find another fucking priest. You think I care?
You think I care? I'm fucking King of England.
I also know that part of the reason that like women give birth on their backs is because he wanted to watch his children be fucking born.
Yeah, that I need to confirm. I want to go back in and find out what.
But I remember hearing that.
Yeah, I remember hearing it too. But like, this is like I've heard this with like, instead of Henry VIII, like a different guy. Like it's been doctors, it's been Henry VIII. Like it's been like different monarchs and stuff. I want to get to the bottom of that as like a fact in this podcast. I don't have an answer today, but I will. Stay tuned for future episode. You look like E.T.
To protect my crown chakra.
Yeah.
My energy is in danger.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You'll be fine.
Walk us through it, babe.
So we're going to start off. The way that this is going to get told is that a lot of the wives actually overlap each other because something else.
He's a poly king.
He's a poly king. And actually at one point they did pitch polyamory to him, which is kind of a fun
actually kind of iconic.
Yeah, they really did. Because when he wanted to get with Anne Boleyn, like his second wife, they were like, what if he just took on more than one wife? And he was like, no. But a lot of things kind of overlap. So today we're doing the first wife and kind of context. But she's also a huge part.
She's going to come back in the Anne Boleyn
she's going to come back into Anne Boleyn. Like a lot of the wives overlap each other. Honestly, like some of them entirely for the entire process. But his first wife, Catherine of Aragon.
Yeah.
They were married a long time. They were married like, I should check actually how long they were actually married. Okay, so Catherine of Aragon was married to Henry VIII for 24 years.
Jeez.
But her story with the Tudors spans even longer than that.
How do you say Tudors?
Tudors? It's a Tudor cinema club, baby.
2 doors down, and drinking and having a party.
2 doors down.
2 doors down,
Tudors.
and Boleyn is getting beheaded.
Working 2 doors down. 2 doors down, more like 3 doors down. If I go crazy, man, would you still call me Superman? Do you know that song?
No.
It's because you're American.
Oh, we talked about this when I did mushrooms in the park. We were talking about this. Like, Superman didn't care about attention when he was saving the day. Isn't that what that song is?
Oh.
It's a Canadian song because this drummer goes around to different schools and talks about quitting drugs and then does like a drum solo.
That rocks.
No, this is Tarzan. It's like Superman versus Tarzan.
I don't know. I honestly am not really sure at all what you're talking about.
I gotta look this up because it's gonna drive me insane.
Okay. Well, you
walk me through it.
While you look that up, let's give a little short history of England. But except we're gonna zoom forward to the 1400s. So England obviously has been like conquested by a bunch of different people throughout its entire existence, starting with the Normans, the Vikings, all these people. So like it's this little island that's just being like, pow, 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 you know, they're fighting each other all the time. Between 1455 to 1485, there was this huge war called War of the Roses, right? And it was the Lancasters. Wait, I don't want to accidentally say a Game of Thrones name, because if you want to know about War of the Roses, it was the prime source of inspiration for Game of Thrones. So where you have the Starks and the Lannisters in Game of Thrones, you have the Yorks and the Lancasters in the War of the Roses. He didn't even try.
No, come on, George. That's
he pulled
insane.
Straight from it. So basically, I'm not going to get into the War of the Roses because, again, I'm taking a staunch stance
against monarchism.
Monarchism and explaining family trees on this podcast because
we'll just simply be here all day.
We'll just simply be here all day.
Yes.
But basically, they were just fighting over who was going to get the throne of England.
Okay.
So then both also, of course, in like classic English fashion, they were related. of course. They
you got to
had,
fight with your brother.
Yeah. So King Henry VI and his family, the House of Lancaster, they fought against these enemies for many, many years. And then they finally came to an end when King Henry VII of England came to the throne in 1485. King Henry VII, obviously King Henry VIII's dad.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Henry VII for a little bit.
Okay.
Did you find out the Tarzan thing?
It's called Superman's Song by Crash Test Dummies.
Oh, Crash Test Dummies.
I need to read these lyrics to you really quickly. This is crazy. And then we'll jump back into it. Tarzan wasn't a ladies' man. He'd just come along and scoop him up under his arm like that, quick as a cat in the jungle. But Clark Kent, now there was a real gent. He would not be caught sitting around in no junglescape, dumb as an ape doing nothing. And then this is the chorus. Superman never made any money for saving the world from Solomon Grundy, and sometimes I despair. The world will never see another man like him.
Okay.
Tarzan. This drummer, I think, goes to different schools and talks about like quitting meth.
That rocks.
And then apparently he does a big drum solo. Apparently
Awesome.
he's on the same circuit, because I was talking to people about this as a group of little people who play basketball.
I've seen that.
Yes, where they're like, I bet
school.
you think we can't play basketball. And
but
then they do.
They do.
And they dunk and shit.
they dunk and they beat the teachers. They get all the tallest teachers to play against them.
And they still beat the fuck out
and
of them.
they win. No, I've seen these guys rock. That's actually how I learned that little people have, like,
Can
it's
play
just
basketball?
the limbs. The limbs are short.
Yeah, yes, the torso is
Yeah,
often.
and I remember they sat down and they were like, we're the same size. And we
Yes.
sat down and I was like, whoa.
Yes.
Honestly, that was great for representation. I think that was representation done
And it's
right.
like, it's fun to make fun of, but if you're a kid, not only are you learning to not, have assumptions, you're also watching your teachers get the fuck beat out of them in basketball.
Which rocks.
That's awesome.
It's awesome to see your teachers humbled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a perfect,
it's really good.
it's a perfect assembly.
Yeah, it's amazing. Also, what do we feel about the new Snow White adaptation not casting little people as the dwarves?
I think that's bad. I think
it's horrible.
There's like
And they look
five. There's
terrifying.
5 roles for all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't have a lot of canonical representation for little people actors.
Yeah.
I think it's fine to cast them as long as you like give them shit to do.
Yeah, I mean,
know what I
like, if just be a good writer, write them good parts.
Yeah, don't just
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, you could have even done like a whole storyline about, like, like, it's a misunderstood part of the population. Like, you know what I mean? Like, ostracize them fairly or something like that. Like, if you really want to be political about it, like, but also you could just give them freaking roles and launched like 7 careers in Hollywood.
I know.
Idiots. Instead, they're terrifying CGI monsters. And Rachel Zegler, I love her. Come on the podcast.
Come on the
babe.
podcast, girl.
I love her. Come on the podcast, babe. But like, horrible Bob.
I know.
They were not thinking about her jaw at all.
No, and because here's the thing is Rachel Zegler is a gamine, and I'm a gamine as well in the Kibe body type. She, I think, is also a flamboyant gamine, which is the same as me, even though I think she's way bigger tits than I do. So I feel like she might be a...
Oh, I was thinking about how she has bigger tits than you.
Yeah. And we all were. Because like Sabrina Carpenter is like a soft gamine, like much more kind of like soft and...
I'm a soft gamine, but not as hot as Sabrina Carpenter, unfortunately.
Well, I'm not as hot as Rachel Zegler, so there we go.
It's okay, we're working on it.
We're working on it. We're getting
getting
not
Botox.
famous enough. I'm getting job Botox every single day.
We're getting more famous and getting more Botox, and then we're gonna
But like you can't have like there's a thing where there's a misconception of like you look really good with like funky hairstyles. But just because you can
doesn't mean you should.
Doesn't mean you should.
Also, no one looks good with that hairstyle. That
That's what I'm
hairstyle's
saying.
crazy. Like, if you look up the photo, it looks like a little cinnamon roll unrolled on her. Oh, it's just so unfortunate.
I know.
She's so beautiful. And she
she's
looked
fucking
amazing
talented.
in the Hunger Games.
I know.
Prequel. She looked fabulous in that.
I know. That costume designer clocked into fucking work that day.
I know. They should have done something like that. I don't know why they didn't do something
Well, the
like
dress
that.
also looks like shit, but I have to go see it because it's fucking... I have to go see it because I don't care about Disney literally at all, but I have to show up for my girl.
Absolutely. No, I'm here for Rachel Zegler, obviously.
I know. We also have to... We should see Romeo and Juliet. The kids are fucked. Would you cast?
The kids are fucked. I did predict that casting. So there's War of the Roses is raging on. No one has claim to the throne. Then Henry VII ascends to the throne after the Battle of Bosworth Field. So it's August 22nd, 1485. Henry's armies defeat Richard III's army, who was the king who you might know. I'm not going to get into it, but he again is the king who like supposedly murdered his 2 nephews and hid them in the Tower of London. If you've heard this,
okay, fucking
fable.
iconic.
He's crazy.
Fucking iconic.
They talked about finding his bones in a parking lot. He's like in the lore.
Yeah,
Richard III.
okay.
So Henry VII defeats Richard III, and he takes his, stance as king. Richard III dies in battle. A bunch of other people had like technically a more legitimate claim on the throne than Henry VII, because he was like basically more or less like bastard born and got the church to like, or like the monarchy to like legitimize his birth line.
Hell yeah.
Kind of thing. You know what I mean?
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon, baby. So basically he is just gets a ton of people killed and threatened and stuff to be like, do not take the throne from me. The throne is mine. So Henry VII starts the Tudor dynasty, like the House of Tudor. He is like, this is mine now, and he deals with anyone who tries to say that that's not the case. He also, to double down, he marries Elizabeth of York, who's the niece of King Richard III, whom he just killed in battle. So he's like doubling down, because if she had been a man, she would have been first in line to the throne. So he was like, I'm just gonna like,
he's gonna really solidify his claim.
Yes, I'm gonna solidify this claim. I'm gonna marry this girl who is like the other option kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like, this is perfect. We're playing footsies.
If you guys watch the video, you can see that we're actually really flirting, and like we're kind of low-key vibing right now.
We're low-key vibing. So then Elizabeth and Henry VII, they have a son.
Okay.
And
what's his name?
An heir. And you bet you know what his name's gonna be. It's Arthur.
What?
So Prince Arthur is their firstborn son.
Oh.
And he is heir to the throne. So they're like,
what the fuck happens to him?
Arthur's bet you could guess what's about to happen to Prince Arthur. So Prince Arthur is the heir to the throne, and they're super excited. They're like, this freaking rocks. And then King Henry VII, who's his dad, he's like, I really need some allies because I hate France. And who else hates France?
Join the fucking club.
Spain. Yeah. So he's like, I gotta get in with Spain.
Okay, chic.
I gotta get in with Spain. I gotta have an alliance with Spain. Like we gotta get in because they hate France. I have France, and also
I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Continue. Though.
Yeah. He's like, I want an allyship with France because like everyone they hate with Spain.
Yeah.
Because I hate France.
Yeah, we got it.
We hate France. We need the vibe.
Yes.
They hate France. They don't want anything to do with France. They're like, they suck. And also at this point, like Henry VII is a little bit like, freaking out, being like, I gotta really like solidify this dynasty because like it is like freaking like people do not want me here. Like, you know what I mean? Like people are kind of like all over the place kind of thing. So Prince Arthur, when he's 3 years old, they betroth him to Catherine of Aragon.
Okay.
Who is also 3 years old.
Okay, that's not, I mean, you don't want to betroth a 3-year-old, but at least it's not to like an adult.
Yeah. It's like the political, like it's very political of like, you have a 3-year-old daughter. I have a 3-year-old son. We should marry them and then we could be allies. So then about 5 years later, Henry VII and Queen Elizabeth, have another son, and his name is Henry. This is who will become Henry VIII. So right now, the older brother, Prince Arthur, betrothed to this 3-year-old.
He's 3, though.
He's 3. Let's keep it clear. He's 3. She's 3. They're both
he's not on his George Harrison bullshit.
No, he's not being George Harrison marrying a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
So Prince Arthur gets all the very like kingly training. Henry goes off and is like preparing basically for a career in the church. And obviously they both get like good education and stuff like that. So then fast forward a little bit, Prince Arthur and Catherine of Aragon get married. They're both like 15. Catherine of Aragon, you also have to think, she's from Spain. She's the daughter of basically what is a king there.
Yeah.
And Spain is beautiful. So like,
no way around it.
No way around it. So she gets like carted over to England.
That's tough.
And it's like, she's tough. Immediately like, it is rough. Like this is
the weather here sucks.
It sucks.
Does she speak English?
No. So this is the other thing. So for some unknown reason, they never taught her English, even though she was betrothed at 3 years old. So her and Prince Arthur They have this honestly like kind of like cute little like letter writing thing back and forth where like they say like they're so excited to meet, and they would correspond in Latin. But then when they finally met, it turns out that their pronunciation, like they've been taught such different pronunciations of Latin, they actually like could not understand each other at all. So they had functionally no common language.
That's wild.
Which is really, really brutal.
That's tough.
So again, you have to picture like 15-year-old girl getting carted away from her like beautiful, stunning, warm homeland into like England.
Yeah,
just
it's
like
tough.
Dreary, like
no
smelly,
sun.
like no sun. Like she's pretty upset kind of thing.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. And so then they get married. They're 15. And Henry VII sends Prince Arthur and Catherine of Aragon down to live basically in Wales to oversee some like Welsh bullshit.
Great.
While they're there, they both get what was known as like the sweating sickness, which is basically where like you sweat out all the water in your body and you die. Like you get very, very ill.
Okay.
So Catherine of Aragon gets extremely ill, but she pulls through.
I lived, bitch.
Arthur dies.
Good.
So they've been married like 5 months and he's kicked the can.
Not the sweating illness.
Yeah, it's rough. That becomes just like a miserable time for Catherine of Aragon, obviously.
Well, yeah, there's nothing,
Yeah.
there's truly not a good thing happening.
No, it's awful. So like her husband's dead. She's a 16-year-old widow. She has to stay in England because of like political reasons. She can't return to Spain. There's also this like weird in between of like Henry VII. She's only received, or England has only received half of her dowry. Her father's still hanging on to the other half basically until like, I don't know, for some like unknown to me reason. I'm sure there's some bizarre political reason for it.
Yeah.
But Henry VII is now like, oh shit, I really don't want to give back her dowry. But like, she's not married to my son anymore. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And so she's basically left to live like hand to mouth for years.
Oh my God.
While they just like figure out what to do with her. It's like rough. She's like quite miserable. And also like by all accounts, her and Arthur were like quite fond of each other. So she's also like lost the only person she knows. She's also come over with like servants and stuff, and she's had to like fire a lot of them who are like the people who like the only people she had to like be around.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's rough. So it's a rough time with her. At one point, Henry VII considers marrying her. After
his wife is dead, I guess.
Yeah. This is another thing. So I'm jumping around a little bit here, but Henry VII, when his son dies, he's always known as like very stoic, and he's seen like weeping at the funeral of his son. Like he's like unhinged. Pretty shortly after that, his wife also dies. And after that, he just becomes a tyrant.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's rough. He's got like 2 very traumatic deaths, one after the other. So he just kind of starts getting like really paranoid, like accusing people of trying to overthrow him and just being mean. Like he's trying to plot how to like marry Elizabeth, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Or not Mary Elizabeth, sorry, Mary Catherine of Aragon.
Yeah.
But then eventually he's like, okay, well, like what makes sense is she can marry Henry, my other son, who's now the heir.
Yeah.
But there's a passage in the Bible, so therefore in law at this time, that says that like a man cannot marry his brother's widow. Rough.
Sure.
This comes into play later.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So he goes to the Pope and he's like, please, can you just make this like not happen?
Yeah.
And they were like, basically like, sure. That's fine. He can marry. He can.
Okay.
He can marry his brother's widow. It's
Gay
fine.
people cannot get married.
No, but you can marry.
We can.
Your brother's widow.
You can marry your brother's widow.
Don't worry about it. And Catherine of Aragon also says that she never consummated the marriage with Prince Arthur, so it was never legitimate either. In the meantime, let's go over and get a picture of Henry. What do you picture Henry VIII? When you have like when I say like picture Henry VIII?
Well, I know he's like, I picture him to be like, you know, an adult, but he must be a child at this time.
So this is, but like this is when like he's like they're getting upwards towards like he's a teenager right now.
Yeah, I mean, he seems unhinged.
Yeah. Okay. Unhinged, like fat, ugly, right? Like kind of like this is what like you're picturing, I bet, right?
Yeah, big hat with a little fucking.
Wrong.
Okay, well, I didn't say
He's
that.
hot.
You kind of led me into
Yeah,
that.
I know.
Though.
I wanted you to say it so I could go wrong.
Okay.
He's super hot.
Okay.
He's super popular, super confident. He's like charming, charismatic, like super hot. Like he's like very, very kingly. People are obsessed with him.
Giving Prince Harry.
Yeah, he's giving Prince Harry.
Yeah.
He's super hot. People love him. Let's not negate the fact that he's super hot.
Okay.
Yeah, just saying. So when King Henry VII dies, eventually he takes the throne. People are pretty excited because he's handsome.
We have a hot king.
We have a hot king. And at this point, he could have just said, like, I'm not marrying Catherine of Aragon because
he's king.
I'm just king. I can do whatever I want. But here's the fun thing about King Henry VIII. He is a romantic.
Okay.
He wants to marry for love. He like believes in all the like stories.
Well, he wrote a bunch of poems for Anne Boleyn.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He is writing like his favorite thing to do. And there's multiple stories. This comes up multiple times in like different stories with different wives. So he would dress up as Robin Hood and get his men to dress up as the merry men. Cool. And they would just like go about pretending to be Robin Hood, like just in day-to-day life. Like it'd be like if you invited me over
He's
for
a
lunch.
LARPer.
Yeah, like he's LARPing through his own castle pretending to be Robin Hood, even though he's already king of England.
That's kind of insane.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. He's writing plays, he's singing songs. Like this guy is like awesome. Cool. Like he rocks. Like he's
that's fun.
Ruling the place, right? So he at this point has like fallen in love with Catherine of Aragon. He's like, he likes her. He likes that she's smart, like they can like intellectually spar. She is 5 years older than him. So at the time they marry, I believe he's 18. She's about 23.
Okay, Catherine.
I know. So Catherine, MILF. Yeah. So
Kilf. Catherine, I'd like to fuck.
Catherine, I'd like to fuck. So Henry VIII marries Catherine of Aragon in 1509. She was also extremely popular. At one point, she also acts as his regent, which is a huge deal. She's very boss lady. She's very like warrior.
She's girl bossing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, they were married 24 years, which is like
crazy.
Most of the wives were not that long at all.
No.
It's kind of interesting because I always thought that they were like divvied up really evenly, but it's like he was with Catherine of Aragon a long time and then just kind of like speed runs the other 5.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Including Anne of Cleves, who like barely happens at all.
Yeah, she barely, yeah.
So by all accounts, there's like, they literally said like the marriage was like unusually good. Like it was like better than people would have thought.
Cool.
So he's a generous king. He loves to give out money. He's spending a ton of money. And because he still has his father's counsel from like the old, like his father who was like a little bit more like staunch and stuff like that, they are pretty upset with all the money he's spending. They in particular won't let him joust with his friends, which is literally so mean.
Is it expensive to joust?
Because he might get hurt and he's king.
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
like, I actually really want to joust with my friends.
But
they're like, no.
But what kind of life is that if I can't joust with my friends?
Yeah, he's sort of like,
it's not a life worth
really
living if I can't
jousting.
joust with my friends.
It's actually like really mean because I love jousting.
It's actually it's really kind of abusive for you to try and control me in that way.
This is what I'm saying. And he also is like, I really want honor and glory and I really want to invade France. And they're like, literally, no, you cannot do that. And
he's like, but I really
want to invade France. And he's like, they're like, no.
Okay.
But then luckily for him.
Put a pin in that.
Put a pin in that.
Put a pin in that.
So then he finds an ally in this religious guy named Cardinal Wolsey. And Cardinal Wolsey just starts writing like royal bills for Henry that basically like don't need the council to sign off them because he's just sort of like, well, God says this. So
that's actually
Henry
kind of fucking awesome.
Do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
I actually just got off the horn with God, and he actually said that Henry can do whatever he wants. And God actually loves it when you joust with your friends.
Yeah, God loves you jousting with your friend. God wants you to invade France.
Why would God invent jousting?
Why would God invent
if he didn't
jousting
want you to do it?
If it wasn't super fun and cool and everyone wanted to do it, and literally everyone else was doing it, Dad.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. But, so Henry's all happy now. He's got this guy who's just his yes man. He's writing bills, anything Henry wants, blowing through money like there's no problem. But he still doesn't have an heir.
Yeah,
it's rough,
and you need that.
Yeah, exactly. So eventually he goes out and he helps the Pope fight against France for some reason.
Why is the Pope doing that?
The Pope is fighting against France.
Respectfully.
Well, because everyone, Carly, you have to understand, everyone's mad at France because France is doing some shit. I don't know what's going on there.
I'm sure. It just doesn't feel like that's where the Pope shouldn't be doing that.
Well, the Pope has got to do something.
What if we woke up tomorrow morning and it was like, hey, extra, read all about it. The Pope has taken Morocco.
I'd say finally he's up and at it.
He's doing something with his one life.
Yeah, he's finally not driving around in the Pope mobile. He's getting up and he's getting his steps in for once.
Yeah, true.
Fucking Benedictus or whatever his name is. Which one are we on now?
No. Benedict? It might be Benedict.
Maybe. I feel like I don't know. I remember when Pope John Paul II died, everyone was in a tizzy. And now I never hear about the Pope.
Because he's not dead.
Bummer.
He's a Jesuit? Question mark?
Jesuit?
Because I think that he's like the first Pope that's a Jesuit.
Aren't they all Jesuits?
I think he's the first of something that starts with a J.
Oh, Jewish?
Big news, guys.
The first Jewish Pope?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll figure out the Jesuits in a minute.
Yeah.
So Henry VIII is happy because he finally gets to be fighting France.
Yeah. Hell
and
yeah.
he's helping the Pope. Mm-hmm. He's happy. He's left Catherine of Aragon in England. She at one point, while Henry VIII is away, Scotland attacks and she is heavily pregnant, gets armored up and goes and leads a battle and like shuts them down. And she gives this like rousing speech.
Okay, I'm fucking obsessed with her.
No, she's like a warrior. Like she takes no shit.
Yeah.
She also like she's described as like short in stature with like a round face and long red hair and
Fuck
fair
yes.
skin. So like she's just like a little woman.
She's you.
She's literally me getting on a horse, fully pregnant, in
Armored
armor,
up.
and being like, except I would never say let's defeat Scotland. Let's
You say
get
let
that
them
clear.
in.
I'd say let them in. Let Scotland in.
They're here.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I can't do that. But yeah, so she's badass. She gives this rousing speech and everyone's like, yes, we love you, Catherine of Aragon. Like the people love her. They're obsessed with her. So she has, I believe,
I'm sure it's going to go over really, really well when they get divorced.
Yeah, it's going to
If everyone loves her, they're going to love that.
Oh yeah, no, it's awesome after they get divorced. Everyone's super cool with it.
Yeah.
Not. Henry eventually just runs out of money in France and he has to return home.
Yeah.
He's had like these victories. He's feeling pretty good, but he's still like pretty unsatisfied. He's like, I still want more.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. And then Catherine of Aragon gives birth to Mary the First, who is a girl. And they're a little bit like, no. She before this has had 4 other pregnancies that have all either died really quick or were stillborn.
That sucks.
Very tragic. So that's quite
That's sad.
there is massive like trigger warning for eating disorder. But
Trigger warning.
so just trigger warning. One of the reasons that it's theorized that she miscarried so much is because she was very pious, very Catholic, super, super religious woman. And she would often fast for long periods of time, even when she was pregnant.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
You can't really be fasting pregnant.
Yeah. It's obviously impossible to prove that
Because
that
we
was
have
the reason
50%
why.
of the record. Like there's
Yes.
science was barely
Yeah.
on the scene at that point. But yeah, that's...
And it was common to miscarry or stillborn babies and stuff like that. But like this is said to have been probably something that was a factor. Whereas like some historians have argued that like her consistent fasting would be modernly like equivalent to anorexia.
Yeah.
Which is rough.
God actually told me that
Yeah.
I shouldn't eat,
Yeah.
by the way. So
it's rough.
that's really sad.
So she gives birth to Mary the First, who becomes later on Bloody Mary. Don't say that 3 times in a mirror.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I don't know if she really comes up in the mirror, but you
No, yeah,
you
not
can't be too
that. I didn't
careful.
know that was Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mary the First. We'll talk more about her
I was
later.
terrified of Bloody Mary.
Oh, dude, I didn't
as a
look in a
child.
mirror for 2
Like
years.
I remember being like somebody would like flicker the lights and I'd be like, don't do that.
Don't do that.
It's not funny.
It's actually not,
not
funny. I
funny.
don't want to get sucked into the
Stop.
mirror. I don't know why you guys are so okay with getting sucked into the mirror. I don't
I've
want to
got
do
shit
that.
to do.
No, I was so scared.
Terrified of it.
I didn't look in a mirror for so
No,
long.
terrified of
I was
it.
so scared. I'd be Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. Even like honestly,
I don't
now,
want you
I'm
to
like
do
a
it
little
now.
bit like I feel like I shouldn't say it.
Mirror up there, and I don't want you to get sucked into it.
Okay, anyway, horrifying. So she has this girl. Henry starts to get pissed off. So he's already pissed off because she's getting older, basically. Like she's getting closer and closer to no longer being able to bear children. He's getting pissed off because, again, you have to remember the Tudor dynasty is brand new. Like his father was the first king.
Yeah.
And so he's also panicking, being like, if I don't get an heir, like there's so little claim
So
to
what you're
this
saying
throne.
is he was justified in everything he did.
Everything he did was super justified.
And normal.
Well, at this point, when it's still kind of early on, I think it's easier to understand before he starts pulling the crazy shit. Like, you kind of understand a little bit more where he's coming from before he just starts
Kind of losing his
losing
damn
his
mind.
mind.
Yeah.
And at this point, again, remember, he's still really well liked.
Yeah.
So he's just starting to like panic a little bit. He's like,
his one job is to basically get an heir.
And he also like in his defense, he's had a lot of mistresses and like a couple of them have like begot.
So
children.
He knows that he's not the problem.
Yeah, which is a bummer.
I mean, he's the problem in a different way. But
oh no, he is the problem. Let's not get it twisted on this podcast.
It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me. That song's actually sung by King Henry.
By King Henry. But let's not get it twisted. Like he is the problem. Like you cannot kill your wives. I'm sorry. That shouldn't be said.
Base level, that's not okay.
But it helps to understand sort of that like at this point he's panicking.
Yeah.
He's freaking the fuck out, right? There's also, and again, I made it a point that I will not go into the details of like minor things happening in wars and stuff like that. But he basically, there's this whole thing where like he wants to like band together with Charles of Spain and again go and attack France.
Jesus Christ. They're obsessed.
Yeah, they work together at a point. And then something else happens. Henry leaves. And while Henry's not there, Charles of Spain actually does win over the French in one province, basically.
Yes, you gotta get them.
You gotta get them. You gotta get the French.
I meant to say you've got them, not you've gotta.
You've got them.
You got them.
You got them. But then when Charles of Spain does this, he kind of looks at Henry and says, well, you didn't help me, so I don't really owe you anything. So now, on top of Henry not having
lots
a
of
baby
L's,
boy,
he doesn't have any part of France.
He doesn't have any part of France, and now he doesn't even really have an ally in Spain. Yeah. On top of this, when Catherine's mother, this is going way back, but when Catherine's mother dies, one of the reasons he was so excited to marry Catherine was because Catherine was descended from also like a lineage that had claim to the throne of England.
Cool.
Even though she lived in Spain. So he was like, this is perfect. But then when her mother dies, it's sort of like, oh, well, like that claim's kind of gone too.
Yeah, yeah.
So Catherine's now kind of in hot water. She's like, isn't really helping with the allyship with Spain. She hasn't had a son. And on top of that, she's getting near the end of her child-rearing age.
She's in her flop era.
She's in her flop era. Henry's panicking. She is not very happy about it all. And who does Henry look across the court
and see?
Miss Anne Boleyn.
Yes.
And that is where we end.
Okay, that was great.
Yeah.
That's some real drama. Okay.
That's some
you did some good. You
real
really
tea.
set the damn stage, Blair.
We're setting the damn stage. And Catherine of Aragon, this is lightly the Catherine of Aragon episode, but she is not done. She's not done, but so much of it overlaps because we're about to get into the absolute tea next episode.
Yes, I'm excited.
With the formation of the Church of England.
Woo!
And that's tea.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts?
That was really good. I didn't know a lot about Catherine of Aragon, and I thought that was very interesting. I think it is like the way the narrative has been kind of shaped is that like, because even in 6 they're like Jane Seymour is the only one he ever loved, or whatever. Like just like he like speed ran these wives.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting kind of that he kind of like was normal for a king.
No, he was like exceedingly normal. Like he was very generous. Like people loved him.
Yeah. So that's interesting to me.
And he believed in love. Like that's at the core of it all, where it's just like when you think about these things he did that like sound crazy to us, it's like, oh, it's because he like wanted to be in love so bad.
Yeah.
And like no one else had ever done that like as a king. Like
and
he was,
you know what I say to that? If you don't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anybody else? RuPaul.
If you love away,
okay,
you love that much, baby, you should go yourself.
That's awesome.
Is that Ed Sheeran?
It is. Ed Sheeran wrote it for Justin Bieber. Oh. Hate that I know that. Hate that.
It's about Selena Gomez.
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, Ed Sheeran wrote it, so it's not really about Selena Gomez.
Okay. But Justin Bieber's intent was think of Selena.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shall we do the section?
Yeah, let's freaking go.
Let's make this tragedy about us.
Okay, Carley. Okay. Whoa, I should have thought of one. I'm stupid. Here, I have one. Okay. If you were to marry, what's your ideal king to marry?
Okay.
Yeah. And also, do you think you would begot an heir?
Absolutely no way. Absolutely no way I'm begotten an heir.
Awesome.
I just think vibes, based on even like watching The House of the Dragon, I'm just like, I just feel like it's one of those things that because I'm like, there's no way I'd be able to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm fucking amazing at it.
Yeah, you're probably really good at it.
But I am.
No, you're not going to begot an heir.
I don't feel like I'm going to begot an heir. Even just thinking about like my grandparents and my parents, like 2 girls, my mom's side girl first and then a boy, and then there's 4 kids on my dad's side, 2 boys, 2 girls. Like it's not just like, there is a thing where it's like, aren't you more likely to have boys as you go along or something like that?
I don't know.
There's some science there. I just feel like I wouldn't be able to be gut an heir. I'm concerned about it. I would love to be gut at it. It doesn't feel like something I'd be good at. I just also have old timey fucking, but I feel like I would just have died from the sweating disease.
Yeah.
Before I could be gut an heir.
Yeah.
Ideal king. I don't know a lot of like old timey kings and stuff, so I kind of have to like make.
You just
one
make
up.
a new one.
I want them to be chill.
Yeah.
I really feel like if I'm gonna be, because you have to get shipped away from your home, basically.
Yeah.
I would like it to be somewhere kind of warm, where there's not really a big threat of overthrowing or of war. Like it's kind of giving like a small territory vibe. Like I don't want the glory. I don't want the drama.
No.
I feel like we should just be able to take lovers from the court and kind of chill, and I can like bring education to women in wherever we're at.
That's beautiful.
What about you?
I want to be a queen to a dragon rider king.
Okay, so
Yeah, in a fantasy world.
Of course, yeah.
I want to be a fantasy
What
queen.
kind of dragons? Like what colors and stuff?
Red and blue and green.
Okay, awesome.
Like no yellow.
Tacky.
Blue, yellow, red, or green.
Okay, cool. Do you learn to ride a dragon?
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. I think I want to be Rhaenyra Targaryen.
Hell yeah. I would love to have long blonde hair.
I would love to have long blonde hair.
Yeah.
Does she die? Has she died yet? No, she doesn't die yet, but she dies.
The main character?
Yeah.
Emma Darcy?
Yeah, she dies.
Yeah, canonically, I mean, in the Game of Thrones universe, they say in Game of Thrones that she dies.
Yeah, I want to be her, I think.
So sorry about the spoiler. The rogue House of the Dragon. Spoiler alert at the end of this episode.
Yeah, sorry.
It hasn't happened in the show. It's
hasn't
just
happened
like,
in the show, so anything could happen.
I just think in the lore, that's what happens.
Yeah, in the lore. Well, definitely she is dead by Game of Thrones.
Well, yes. Just even by old age at that point.
But yeah, I definitely want to be like a dragon rider, or I want to be like a Viking queen.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, epic first episode. I can't wait for the season.
Epic. I'm so fucking excited.
Yeah, me too.
Hell yeah. Okay, thank you for listening.
Okay, we love you so much.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.